When we get down to his house in Rittenhouse Square, we get in there, we figured going there, his nickname was Fast Eddie, you make a fast dollar. So we'd have money, and each of us would have enough money to go to the movies and get popcorn, and then afterwards we'd hustle some more pedophiles. When we get there, there's 30 kids in this guy's living room, and he's like a doctor's office.
Welcome to this episode of the Human Monsters Podcast. Warning, this episode is not for listeners with weak stomachs. Graphic descriptions of sexual acts, some of which incorporate statutory rape and scatological details, are contained within. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Envision a scenario that goes something like this. It is somewhere between the years of 1971 and 1992. You live in Philadelphia. It's Friday afternoon and you're a restless teenage boy. You live in an indigent neighborhood and would be labeled as at risk by social workers and psychologists. Relieved to be free of school for the weekend, you're dying for something to do that doesn't just involve hanging out with your friends, loitering, or watching them play Space Invaders at the arcade. Wouldn't it be nice to earn some pocket money somewhere? You could buy beer, pot, or some cigarettes. Maybe get some pizza and play some video games. How about tickets to a rock concert? A football game, maybe. There is a guy known alternately as Uncle Ed, Fast Eddie, and Dr. Feelgood who could hook you up. He's into some weird sex shit, though. He might ask you to do things like slam his dick in a drawer or sell your dirty underwear to him. You may have been referred by a friend of yours who will get a finder's fee. That, or Uncle Ed may have picked you out from your high school's yearbook as if you were a catalog item. The man's real name is Ed Savitz. He is an actuary for an insurance company and lives in a high-rise located in an affluent section of town. This type of incident occurred for about 21 years, as Ed Savitz, Philadelphia's premier pervert, laid the groundwork for his reputation as the city's worst sexual deviant. Exploiting minors to gratify himself sexually, few would argue that he qualifies as a human monster. Edward Isidore Savitz was born on February 22, 1942, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was one of 4 sons of Paul and Anne, both Russian Jewish immigrants. His parents owned and operated an amusement arcade in downtown Philadelphia. Ed Savitz attended West Philadelphia High School and was not only ranked first in his class, but was voted most likely to succeed. He even won a full scholarship to study economics at the University of Philadelphia, though he dropped out after his second year of study. He studied at Temple University's Graduate School of Music, but dropped out once again after 2 years. In 1963, he married his high school sweetheart, Judith Widman. They divorced 10 years later. Free of the restrictive presence of his wife, Savitz utilized his newfound privacy to indulge in his attraction to teenage boys. For their compensation, boys would engage in one or more of the following: oral sex, anal sex, slamming Savitz's penis in a door, giving him a pair of soiled underwear, shitting in a pizza box, shitting directly into Savitz's mouth through a potty chair with the receptacle removed. The boys were instructed to eat more cheese, as this apparently made the feces taste better, according to Savitz. They also engaged in penis sword fights. They pissed on Savitz. They pissed in Savitz, his mouth that is. They vomited in his mouth. Child sex trafficking victim Greg Bucciaroni describes his association and experiences with Ed Savitz, which also brought him into contact with Jerry Sandusky.
Eddie Savitz was his philanthropist. He was supposed to be working with this South Philly Boys Club to work with mentor at-risk boys. And at first it started out with like that, and he took us to Penn State games and Great Adventure and Eagles games and Phillies games, and kind of took us out. Everything was starting to normal. Then he used other kids to come up and kind of talk us to these parties. Now at first I said, well, what kind of parties are these? And they said, oh, you go there, they're going to let you smoke weed, drink, there'll be girls there, we could go skinny dipping, watch some porn. So, girls going to be there? Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was 12 years old, and, I wasn't experienced with girls, but I did a lot of thinking about it in the bathroom with Penthouse magazines and Playboy magazines, so I wanted to take it to the next level. So I went with these parties, and at first everything started out innocent, and then as the party would go on, you go skinny dipping. And the girls would come in, the other kids. This is after we're watching porn and kind of a little high and buzzed from alcohol and marijuana. And while we're wrestling, they would come into the pool. Eddie Savitz and some of his other philanthropist friends, and they get in the pool and they're horse playing, but we're all naked. And as I'm saying, this kind of like, I'm feeling weird about a guy naked wrestling with me with his penis up against my butt side or my leg or whatever. And everyone said, oh, it's cool. Ain't no harm. It's all, we're just playing around. And so I kind of let it go, and then I felt weird about it, but the more you started doing drugs and alcohol, the less weird I got.
Yeah.
That we got money, sneakers, clothes, got out of trouble.
Yeah.
They used to go to the schools and sign us out, and then we would go out and just get high, and everything was, pretty much, it looked like, if you were a kid and this is a fire, they definitely were pouring gasoline on a fire. Yeah. In the pool, he was bumping and grinding on me. He didn't, he grabbed my private parts a couple times, and, he says, oh, I'm sorry, we're wrestling. Everything looked okay, but it didn't feel okay.
Yeah.
And I knew something was going on because this was unnatural for naked boys. If it was a girl, sure, but not two guys. I'm not gay. And what happened, it looked like he was bumping and grinding on me. And but I let it go, and then I said, well, I'm not going to go to these parties because I felt weird afterwards when I sobered up. But then everyone started going to Great Adventure and having these bicycles and, gold chains and money in their pocket, and I wasn't. So he used other kids to coerce me and some of my friends. Come on, let's go back, and, everything's cool, man. Nobody's got to know about it. And then it got into the touchy, and after a while you said, well, F it. I want these things. I want to go to Great Adventure. Yeah. I want a new pair of sneakers. I want money in my pocket. So you start doing little things, and little things, the more you do it, the more dehumanized you get, and then that's where the drugs and alcohol increase. And then as you become more dehumanized, what was going on is you allowed them to do more and more things. And then at some point you wake up, you look in the mirror, and you realize you don't see yourself. You see yourself as some type of degenerate monster, and it's not the kid I'd hoped to be, it's the kid I became. It was weird, and I definitely felt dehumanized. But I would say, because there's times where I'd walk away from doing that stuff no more.
I'm sure.
Initially, the parties, it was just philanthropists and teachers and lawyers types, and then as it went on, the parties, they would take you to places in Manhattan. Atlantic City was just starting with the casinos. We did a lot in Resorts International. They used to have make us wait outside, and they would have the Union League. Well, we weren't allowed in there, but we'd wait outside, and they'd take us to the movie theaters, or Chestnut Street was loaded with movie theaters, and Center City was arcades and stuff, buy us ice cream. And we'd wind up at 13th and Spruce, which was the Parker Hotel. It's still there today. We used to call that Pedophile Central, because even if you didn't find any of these guys and you wanted to hustle, and say I couldn't find Eddie Savitz or any of his friends, I would just stand out there, and eventually some dirty old man would come by, pick us up, and either going to we had rooms in there, and we'd take them inside the room, or we'd do something in their car. And then I'd flip a coin, am I going to rob this guy or not rob him? Because a lot of times we would, these guys had money. So what we do is we tell them, oh, come down this way, go down that way, and then when the guy went there, we robbed him. So, not the best thing to do, but it was the thing to do in the mind when you're a 12-year-old kid, a 13-year-old kid, and you're on drugs and alcohol. We were going to Penn State games, and before I I heard a lot about Coach Jerry. We didn't call him Sandusky. He was Coach Jerry this, Coach Jerry that. This guy used to bring kids down from, we used to call Jerry's kids. And it turned out the kids from the Second Mile Charity. And they would come to the Phillies games and the Eagles games and the Army-Navy games. And sometimes we would have events in Wildwood, New Jersey, this and that, Great Adventure. So they'd take them. So we always were combative with those kids. And what wound up happening was they would take you down to these things, and they kept talking about Coach Jerry. So in 1978, they take me to, I don't know at the time, I'm at a Penn State football game. I'm there to meet a guy named Scott. And I was living in New Jersey at the time, and living in Blackwood, New Jersey, and they said, look, we're going to go there and you can make a couple bucks, and he wants to do something with you. So I said, well, money's money. I need some drugs anyway. Let me go do this. And we drive up. Took a long time. It was probably about 2 hours, 3 hours past Harrisburg. We get down there. And we're at this game, and I'm already buzzed. They gave me some pills, prescription pills, to kind of calm me down, because sometimes I'd be nervous, especially if it's a new guy and I don't know the guy, I don't know his intentions. Savitz, yes. Eddie Savitz. Sometimes his friends would give us pills, but mainly he was the one. And I get down there, and I meet a guy, and his name was Scott. It turned out to be Lawrence Scott Ward. He was just new to the area, and he wanted to be a professor with the University of Pennsylvania, with Wharton School of Business. And so I met him, and there was a gentleman next to him, and I didn't know who he was. Looked like a football coach. That later on discovered to be Jerry Sandusky. I meet Scott Ward, and we go to the game. There was a little after party afterwards. Then we drive back down to a party, and this is in 1978 at the Parker Hotel at 13th and Spruce, because he lived in the off of City Line Ave. So came down there, and at some point we're at this party, and I'm getting more drugs, and I don't remember passing out, but I do remember waking up. And when I woke up, I had realized I was in a different room, naked, and that my rectum was bleeding. And at some point, he told me, and it hurt. And I had never done that. I'd done other things, but not that. But so there was, that's the first time I officially met Sandusky. Then later on, we went to other Penn State games, and then in 1979, we were prohibited from going to Penn State games because we always fist fought with those Jerry kids. The kids from the Second Mile Charity. So I wind up going to, they had fundraisers at the Second Mile Charity. When we get there, he's schmoozing because there's people there. It's a legitimate function, it's a fundraiser, but there's illegitimate people there too with their own agenda. So I sit back, it's me, Eddie Savitz, Sandusky, I believe Scott Ward was there, that news reporter, Bill Collin. He was the sports writer for the Daily News. Okay. He was there. Sam Rappaport was there, the real estate developer, and this guy called Coach Phil. And Coach Phil later on turns out to be Coach Phil Giglietta, and he was the football coach for a prep school in Brooklyn, New York called Poly Prep. But we were introduced as Coach Phil. So, well, anyway, Sandusky, Eddie Savitz, we were supposed to do a thing called kid swapping, which is child sex trafficking. What happens is, if Sandusky came to Philly,
he'd bring some kids.
He'd bring kids, and they'd swap with the host and vice versa. So we go up there, Sandusky and Eddie Savitz introduced me to Coach Phil. And Coach Phil's willing. He lives in Brooklyn, New York. However, he's familiar with Philadelphia, and his cousin was in the politics. So he follows us back to the Parker Hotel in '79, and he pays myself and this other kid $200 altogether. We got $100 each, and he went in there and we did sexual things with him. Then he made the mistake of falling asleep, and while he was asleep, we robbed him. Yeah. We stole his wallet, his watch. He had a gold watch, and we left him there. We figured we'd never see this guy. So when he left Philadelphia, he left empty-handed. When we went to these different events, and whether it was Manhattan, Atlantic City, whoever the host of the event was, the rule was, the thumb was, you bring some kids, and I'll let you play with my kids, you play with mine. Now, Eddie Savitz, he used to tell me, I was very tight with him between 1976 and 1980. And he used to say that because I used to think, like, how many penises can this guy suck and swallow? I mean, he would have kids, if it's 24 hours a day, this guy would give oral sex to kids 24 hours a day. And I used to think in the back of my mind, how much can he suck? Sure. Eddie Savitz told me that he was doing it because it was his fountain of youth. He thought by taking this, he was stealing our youth. Ironically, it's that youth that wind up killing them in the end. And I used to say urinate in the wind, but...
Savitz mostly selected boys from the Grays Ferry neighborhood and came into possession of a St. John Newman High School yearbook. He circled the pictures of boys who he found most appealing and promised referral fees to any boy who could bring the individuals to him. Neighbors often complained about how Savitz had these boys coming to his apartment at varied hours, day and night. The boys were described mostly as heavy metal types. It was not uncommon for the boys to encounter the sight of several other boys waiting in Savitz's living room, as if by appointment. When confronted by his neighbors, Savitz told them he was a social worker and was helping the boys. Sometimes Savitz would pay the boys to perform non-sexual acts, like the assembly of furniture and other odd jobs. From 1971 to 1992, Savitz amassed a collection of 5,000 photos of nude boys. It was not stated on the record if Savitz took photos of his visitors or if they were purchased articles of child pornography obtained from an external source, though many of the photos were of boys Savitz had defiled. The young men who were paid by Savitz to render their services noted that they were neither pressured nor coerced into participating. Savitz's first brush with the law came in 1978. He was charged with indecent assault. After completing a rehabilitation program, his record was expunged. In 1990, he was charged for purchasing a pair of soiled underwear from a minor, but he was found not guilty. Savitz's arrest in 1992 followed a 6-month investigation by Philadelphia's Sex Crime Unit. By early March, investigators had gathered enough evidence to install a wiretap and hidden video camera in his home. On March 25th, detectives witnessed on the video feed Savitz offering money to two 15-year-old boys for oral sex. Police arrested him immediately. Savitz was charged with involuntary deviant sexual intercourse, sexual abuse of children, indecent assault, and corrupting the morals of a minor. After a detailed search of Savitz's apartment and his storage facility nearby, police found the 5,000 photos of naked boys and 312 bags of soiled underwear. In addition to these were dozens of pizza boxes containing feces deposited by boys. Savitz tested positive for HIV a year before his arrest, but continued to have unprotected sex with underage boys. This caused widespread panic among the boys who had sexual contact with him. AIDS hotlines were flooded with calls after Savitz's photo was disseminated to the public. Savitz's bail was set at $3 million and he was released. The following day, bail was reset at $20 million after complaints lodged by 2 teenage boys were validated. He was taken back to jail. On March 27, 1993, a week before the beginning of his trial, Ed Savitz died of complications from AIDS in a prison hospice. I'm going to close with a segment about Ed Savitz on the Howard Stern Show from 1992. Stern interviews 3 callers from Philadelphia that were exploited by Savitz as teens. This is the Human Monsters Podcast. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.
Is this the dude?
Howard?
Dude, you're on the air.
How you doing?
All right, now you're from Philly?
Well, I'm from South Jersey, actually.
Okay, and how did you meet Uncle Ed?
Well, I got a couple friends that live in Philly. I'm originally from there, and, the word was around that...
Are you really hot looking?
Actually, no, I'm kind of fat.
But, it's a big diaper.
Yeah, how old were you at the time?
Let me tell you something, first off, that we didn't do anything sexual with the guy.
Are you a homo?
Oh, no, not at all. But it was an easy way to get cash Friday night. I mean, we go over there, and...
But look at all these guys who want cash.
Everybody wanted money from
I
this
would have been
guy.
scared.
No, because there was nothing to it. See, he lived in another thing. He didn't live in a row house. He lived in a really nice place.
So how did you make contact with the guy?
All right. Well, a friend of mine, Tom, he actually went there first. Like, he had been going there for like a year.
Right.
And he told me about it one night. We were sitting around drinking beers, and we went over there. And
so he said, "Hey, let's go over to see this guy, Uncle Ed." Did you guys call him Uncle Ed?
We didn't call.
Did you guys ever hear of collecting pop bottles to make extra money?
That's right. That was a big thing years ago.
Or selling
You
grit?
didn't get an allowance?
Look what diapers I wasted all my life. I got it cleaned up.
Hey, I would have taken a dump for Uncle Ed for a couple of bucks.
Let's listen to his
All
story.
right, yes,
Actually,
that's
my
true.
friend
Let's
Tom
listen to
did
the
take a dump
testimony.
for
All right, go ahead.
Actually, my friend Tom did take a dump for him.
Oh, gee.
Oh yeah. Well, wait. You're jumping ahead.
Jumping
He paid him
ahead.
$45.
So, like, what do you like? Are you in? Is Tom a good-looking guy?
Tom's a good-looking guy, yeah.
And like, how tall is he? You know,
He's about 5'11", I guess.
You guess?
would Uncle Ed pay extra for corn?
We used to make jokes about that too, Howard.
So, like, you guys are like 15-year-old guys,
No, we were actually like 17, 18.
and Tommy is like, is he kind of slight, and
Actually, yes.
is he blonde, sandy blonde
He
hair,
is Sandy Blonde, Howard. I can't believe this.
with brown eyes?
I think he has blue eyes.
Oh, boy, got that close,
A
huh?
dream walking.
Robin, be still. So, is Tommy homosexual?
No, Tom's straight too. See,
All right, so
we didn't
how did
do
Tommy
anything
hook up?
sexual with
Well,
him, Howard.
calm down.
Well, how did Tommy hook up with Uncle Ed?
Well, I guess I don't really know for sure how he hooked up.
So Tommy's having beers with you and says, "Hey, do you want to go over to this guy's house and sell our underwear
No,
to
they
him?"
said, let's go over to Uncle Ed and unload.
well, no.
And wouldn't you have been nervous about Tommy bringing up, like, selling his underwear to some
Well,
dude?
no, because everybody knew about Ed.
Right.
I mean, the guy was actually a nice guy, believe it or not. I mean, he was weird.
Oh, I believe it.
He was weird. He was very, very weird.
Now,
But
well, is there anyone in this room who disagrees this would be an excellent sitcom plot? Come on, be honest.
No, I like the star of this one.
Sitcom.
Yeah, a sitcom.
Go on.
All
with
right.
the story.
I might
don't
option
think
this
people would
story.
buy it, Howard.
Yeah. I'm optioning this story. Does Uncle Ed have an agent?
He has lots of lawyers.
Well, he'll
I
probably
think.
write a book now.
I might option it.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, for a serious docudrama.
Howard, I got a pretty funny story.
All right, dude.
Yeah, I'd like to
friend
hear
Tom.
what happened.
Everyone's in a rush.
My friend Tom, he took a dump for Ed.
Well, wait. Back up. So you get in your car and you go over to see
Uncle Ed.
Uncle Ed.
Actually, yeah, we walked over there, yeah.
Okay, you walk over.
Yeah, it was just a couple
And you
blocks.
knock on the door, and like, what's this guy wearing?
Well, what it was, you'd have to get buzzed in by the doorman.
Right.
And we'd go up there, and he would be, wearing his clothes and everything.
Is he a good-looking guy?
No, actually, he was old, It was, Howard, it was a money-making thing.
All right, and you go in, and and what does he say to you?
He'd be like, "How you doing? So-and-so, blah, blah." He wouldn't really say much, Howard. He was very weird. He was, he would like stare at you.
Really?
But you didn't have to take your underwear off even in front of him.
Right.
You could go in the bathroom.
His head would explode.
And
He'd be like scanners.
Yeah.
His head would just blow up.
Too much pressure.
Oh, yes. Tommy, who's your friend? So you and Tommy are there, and he goes, so how does the transaction go down?
well, there was you just gave him your underwear and he'd give you money. Like it.
No bargaining?
There was
That's terrific.
None at all. It was.
Hey, Pat, put your hand on my pants.
Well, how much is the underwear going for these
Well,
days?
like sometimes $15, sometimes $25.
So you walk in, and you're supposed to know that, like, he says, go in the other room and take off your underpants?
Well, some people would take them off in front of them.
Right.
And some people wouldn't.
Right, so you said, hey, I'm going in the other room.
Yeah, I did.
And the guy would say to you, do you want to give me your underpants?
Well, he'd ask for other things too.
Like?
Sex.
Right.
He wanted to have sex with you.
And you'd say no.
But if you say no, he didn't push it.
Right.
He was he was really wimpy, and I'm kind of a big guy, so
Right.
there wasn't much.
So he says to you, I'd like to buy your I'd like to purchase your underpants.
Something like that, yeah.
And so then you walk into another. Weren't you afraid he'd like lock you in and chop you up or something?
Well, I was at first, but then I just found
Guy's a total stranger, Robin.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're taking your underwears in front of this guy.
And you know he probably had a video camera somewhere.
He's probably a real fruit of the loom.
What is it, Gary?
Just in case you want to talk about or show like the scope of this guy's work.
Yeah.
There's another guy on the line right there who almost identical incident except 1971.
Ooh,
Wow.
so it's many years.
All right, you know what,
Uncle
Robin?
Eddie.
Robin, you've obviously untapped with your coverage of this story. You've untapped a wealth of information here.
Be here for a year.
Kudos to you,
Yeah,
Pat. I know you're into it.
I'm into everything here. I'm excited.
So I tell you what, can I put you on hold? Let me take a break, and we can get both you guys on.
Sure.
All right. All right, so the guy who we were just talking to, so you're in the apartment, and then Uncle Ed says he just comes out with it, and he says, I want to buy your underwear.
Yeah, he would, he'd tell you, ask you how much that you wanted, and we'd tell him, like, they say we needed $25 or whatever, we'd just say $25, and he'd pay it.
And he'd say, okay, here's 25?
Yeah.
And what would he do with the underwear after
Oh, wait a second. So you went into where'd you go, the kitchen?
No, I would go into the bathroom, but my friend Tom did it right in front of him.
Wow, so Tom must have got more than you.
Yeah, actually, he did.
Oh, uh-huh.
Tom's a gambler.
What's Tom got a big schween? Tom have a big schween?
Yeah.
Yeah, figures. He wants to show it to everybody.
Oh, boy.
Hey, Tom might be gay. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think so, Howard.
Why would he get undressed in front of Uncle Ed, just to get more money?
Because I guess he didn't really have
didn't
no
care.
morals, I guess.
Yeah, I guess there's another guy.
He had no morals.
No
This guy's
morals.
selling his underwear.
Yeah.
You got morals, right?
Tommy had no morals, but he had morals because he went in the bathroom. So you give him your underpants. You didn't have any stains on it or anything, did you?
Sometimes.
Oh, jeez.
How much underwear did you sell?
Well, I only did it 3 times.
Only three?
But
Gee,
I know a
feel
lot
bad.
of guys that went over there countless times.
And what did they do? Just strip naked?
Yeah.
So how much did Tommy get for his underpants?
Well, like I said, it was all different. It was.
Well, what did Tommy get the first time?
I think the most he ever got out of the guy was $75.
Now, what did he do for that?
I'm not sure. I wasn't there. From what he told me,
$75.
nothing.
Yeah.
But you never know, I guess. Now.
Me, if I found a gold mine like that, I'd put on another pair, come back the same night, Robin. I'd be like,
You'd wear 2 or 3 pair the next time.
Mom, can you go buy me some more underwear? I just bought your underwear last week. Just buy me about another 50 packages.
Right.
Howard,
I'll tell you, we're going to be able to retire in about 3
I was
months.
going to say, where'd your mother think your underwear was going?
Howard, I got a pretty funny story though.
Yeah.
Tom went over there. I told you before. He took a dump for the guy.
Yeah.
And he
Where does he
didn't want
dump?
to do it. He didn't want him to do it ever again because it smelled too bad.
So you mean Uncle Ed said, take a dump for me?
Yeah, Tom took a dump for him. That's when he got the.
Where did he dump it? Like on Uncle Ed?
No, just took a dump.
Where, right on the floor?
Right on the floor.
Oh, jeez. Let me get out of here.
And
Pat's heart hurts.
Open the window.
he didn't want him to do it anymore.
You need a window.
So Uncle Ed said, I don't want you doing it anymore because you smell?
Yeah.
Well, what did Uncle Ed expect?
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I mean, you know.
Who smells good?
Yeah.
Uncle Ed could tell us.
Robin, you smell good. Do you smell good, Robin?
I don't smell terrible.
Really? I bet you're very delicate in that area. I'm serious, though, because her fart didn't even smell. A little bit.
Did
Not offensive.
You never smelled a thing.
Wasn't that offensive?
Oh, you.
So,
I don't believe this shit. I don't believe it. I feel abnormal today.
it'll only get worse.
It does get worse.
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of stuff. There's a whole news agenda we have. But this is only the first story.
God, I can't believe it.
All right, so now what happened to you, dude?
I was in a prep school. I'm from down south. I was in prep school outside of Philly, and I used to go with a friend of mine on weekends into Philly. And we were looking for tickets to the Eagles game. This was back in 1971. And
Right.
so some friends of this guy said, well, you can go over to the queer's house. He's got tickets.
Right.
And, I mean, I'm only like 14, 15 years old. I don't even care about gay sheets or anything yet then. You know,
Right.
I'm just like, well, what's the deal? And the guy said, well, if you urinate on him and you slam his member in the door, he's got all kinds of tickets on money.
Slam his member in the door? Where are we going with this show?
Sounds like this guy should be suing all of you.
Oh, jeez, I can't
He had a
believe
very
it.
large sausage too.
Right.
It's the same. Almost, it sounds just like this guy in terms of getting there and going inside and everything. And
Sounds like all the Philadelphia youths
All the
knew about
kids
it.
in this area.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
1971, this guy's been around all these years.
Yeah.
And they just caught him now.
Because the kids say he
didn't
never
even have a-
he
he didn't
never
have a
really
name.
like raped anybody or hurt them. He just would buy their underwear and stuff.
I can't
Well, the thing that scared everybody now is that he has AIDS.
Yeah.
That's
Otherwise, he'd still be in business.
Yeah.
That's the sick part.
So did you go over and slam his ween in the door?
well, my friend and I went over, and he didn't even really give his name. I didn't know him as an uncle or anything. That's when the story came out. I just sort of slightly started connecting it, and then.
Was he real creepy?
Like, yeah, this is definitely the guy.
Yeah.
So we go over, and he gets in the tub in his bathroom, and both of us urinate on him, and then he says, he says, well, okay, one of you's got to, slam it in the door, and my friend, Bobby said, all right, I'll do that. And he stood up, got up, stood up, I stood outside and saw and watched him. He just, boom, shut the door, and then, of course, it's like it's like, when you have a dish towel, something stuck in the door, and you go to shut the bathroom door, it just opened back up.
Oh, God.
And,
Wait a second. Let me get this straight. So after you guys did that to Uncle Ed in the tub, and he's naked, right?
They
He stands
circumcised
up.
him.
He stands up, and he says, "One of you guys got to slam the door on it."
Right. right.
Sticks it in the door,
Jeez, not even.
and you slam the door, and it slams shut. Oh, I know. I got a pain.
No wonder he's sick.
Did you? And you slammed it shut?
No, it wouldn't. It's just like
It just pops back open.
Just like on it.
It wouldn't close.
Wait a second. Yeah.
And it pops back open.
It popped back open. Was he in pain?
He didn't even wince.
Wow.
He didn't even wince.
What a special man.
Dude.
No, seriously, Robin, that's
Ed has
impossible.
special
He
talent.
had a big sausage, though, didn't he, guy?
Oh, my God.
Super.
And you didn't feel kind of stupid or weird
Well,
when the guy told you, was laying in the tub there?
It was like that whole weekend was an experience.
How much did he pay you for doing that?
I've never even seen anything besides Wonder Bread. I mean, I've been to Philadelphia with soft pretzels and raw. I mean,
How much did he pay you for doing that?
He didn't. He had Eagles tickets.
Oh,
So they got tickets to the game.
Eagles tickets.
The Giants tickets.
And he had a whole stack of them. So, and he asked me, he said, well, both of us, how about, underwear, and I got great seats. You got better seats for more stuff.
Underwear.
For
And I'm
underwear.
like, well, I don't wear underwear. It was 1971. I didn't wear any, any underwear or anything. And
Right.
I didn't have anything to give him.
Neither did we. Rob, you didn't wear underwear in 71,
Not in
did you?
71.
No.
It was pretty
Nobody
quiet.
did. Pat Cooper didn't wear underwear in 71.
I tell you, this is.
But,
Isn't this sick?
Oh, my
It's
goodness.
not sick. It's peculiar.
But I know
Sick
this
you can
is the guy
cure. This you
because
can't cure.
when they said that it had been going on for maybe 20 years, I called my friend who lives in Philly, and he said, that's the guy.
And he was known in the neighborhood as the queer?
It just these guys on the corner are...
Did you feel kind of gay doing all this stuff? Did you feel kind of gay, though? Like being with a guy in a tub?
Maybe it was different then, or maybe I definitely was naive. I mean...
Right.
Naive to wee on a guy? That's naive? Are you crazy? That's not naive. That's sick in the brains.
Wow. How much did you get again? That's all you got was the tickets?
The 2 Eagles tickets, yeah.
Wow.
They're
Two
hard to
Eagles
come by,
tickets. You're going to wee on a guy.
How come you guys only went there once? Like I figured you went 3 times, right, dude?
Right.
You make it a career.
Yeah. I'd make it a career.
I would go back today.
I'll tell you how I was at the NCAA's trying to scalp tickets, and I started laughing to myself, thinking, I wonder where Uncle Ed is.
Yeah.
Tickets to
He's in
NCAA.
jail. He's got a lot of prisons going to work on him.
Yeah, Uncle Ed, man. You could slam a door on his weenus.
And he wouldn't flinch.
How is that possible?
Howard, he was at least 10 inches. He was
Wow.
huge.
I don't care if he's 4 inches. How do you slam on your cagootsa there? How do you do that?
Yeah, how do you slam on your gagutsa? If you will.
Did the guy, did he just like kind of push, you know how you can like slowly push the door? Did she?
No,
You-
The door closes, most bathroom doors close from the inside. He stood inside the bathroom with his member, in the door facing, and it was like, at the time, I wasn't even looking that close at it, but it had to have some kind of erection. And then my friend reached in from the inside and just boom, just shut it, and you could, see it was in there.
Wow, that's
and then boom,
amazing.
It just popped back open.
Well, there he is, Uncle Ed, Robin.
Yeah.
That is the unbelievable truth behind the story.
Amazing.
You're going to get a Pulitzer for this.
We uncovered more than I expected.
When you first introduced the Uncle Ed story on the air, I said
I wanted to know more about this.
yes, and you're up for a Pulitzer. Do you know that?
Howard, why don't you do a skit on the TV show?
With you guys, I'll get in a tub. I'll be Uncle Ed. You guys
do it. I'm game.
We'll do a reenactment.
I'm game.
You game too, dude?
Yeah, sure.
You smell
Yeah.
like game.
You smell like...
Hey, why don't we have these guys on?
And you can do your sitcom.
And I'll say, hey, no, maybe we don't have time to write a sitcom, but we can have
not
them on
this
and say, here's 2 guys who encountered Uncle Ed,
Yeah.
and they want to reenact sort of what happened, and we do like one of those dramatizations.
From like a current affair.
Yeah, like black and white with like fuzzy lenses and stuff.
Yeah, we'll need that because I got a restaurant now, Howard, on the Jersey Shore. I'd kind of like to be in Fuzzface or something.
Well, I could put you in like a
That's
mask.
funny. We could do the blocks.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Actually, I'd probably want the same thing, Howard.
Yeah, I could do that.
I don't have a
That's
restaurant
great.
or anything, but
No, we'll put underwears over your face.
Hey, yeah, we'll put underwear over your head.
There you go.
There it is. Hey, Pat. Hey, Pat, you want to write on our show?
Oh, I'd love to write it.
It's an opening.
I want to be Marlene's assistant.
Look, if you are, just fired Fred.
I want to learn from the geniuses.
All right, Fred, that's it. You're out.
You should have come up with that, Fred.
God, this is a great story. This is gonna be. I'm gonna get a tape of this show. I don't believe it.
I can't believe it myself.
Great. This is great.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Gosh.
Wait, we have another call here on the phone from a guy who was with Uncle Ed.
Oh, they're coming out of the woodwork now, Howard.
Uh-oh.
Oh, sure.
Well, he was in business for over 20 years.
All right, what is your story, sir?
Hey, Howard?
Yeah?
Yeah, I just wanted to call in. It was about 1975 or so. I went over to Uncle Ed's.
Yeah? What happened to you?
Well, he had me do that thing with the erection in the door, but then he asked me, if he gave me $50, if I could throw up in his mouth.
Throw up in his mouth?
Yeah.
Throw up in Uncle Ed's mouth? Fred, give me that megaphone. Look at that. That's disgusting.
You have to eat chili.
After you eat chili.
Yeah.
Add me some chili with some extra cheese.
Wow. Hey, dudes,
It was foaming.
we'll cover your heads in underwear and we'll do it.
All right.
I'm into it if you guys are.
Sure.
I'm game.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.